I don't know why is this the thing that I've noticed. The picture quality looks very different on Sunday recordings. Like, I don't know why that is the case. Bruh. Good evening, welcome back to In the Khud. This is 14th of August 2022, 8:48 p.m. Today was, I will just quickly open up Notion. Notion is not open. Okay, vlog 36 today. Again, I woke up at 10:30. It's not like a regretting thing or anything. It's just that over the weekend, sleeping for extra 3-4 hours just helps rejuvenate. It just gives you the energy to plunge into the weekend with like full intensity from tomorrow onwards. So now I did one major and one kind of minor, but it was major for me, improvements today. One is I wrote an After Effects expression because I want to make it a mogart. I do not want it to be a script that can be used inside After Effects. I wanted it to be a mogart that can be then brought into Premiere. It wasn't very complicated, but it took me a while to figure out, and there is no such video on or even an article on the internet which can exactly explain what has to be done. So I will first show you what I have made. So this is the After Effects composition here, and I will open up the Premiere, just a sample project of In the Khud vlogs. Now over here, this is the thing that I've made. It just says some more beautiful text here. Now this mogart here in the essential graphic panel gives you obviously the option to change the text actually. So this is some other text. Okay, now that is changed. Now the most important thing here is I can select this property here called which word. So now this is third word, that's why some is highlighted. If I say 1, it will highlight the first word. If I say 2, second word. 3 is some. If I say 4, other. If I say 5. So basically this slider is switching which color has to be highlighted, and this sounds pretty simple, but it's a little tricky to get right. So I spent a lot of time getting this right. This was one thing I made, and the other iteration of this is, if I just quickly browse here, which word, animate. Okay, this is the other thing I made today. This is also like this only, but the only difference here is the highlight will move across the line, and here there is a second slider. So let's say if it's set to 1, in 1 second it will move across this screen. So it will move across all. If I just make it full, it will move across all these words. Here there are 6 words now, if that is the kind of effect I'm looking for. If let's say I turn it up to 2 now, the whole animation will happen in 2 seconds. Again, if I turn it to 3, the whole animation will take place in 3 seconds. It will be a lot slower. There are 6 words now. So these are the 2 things I made. I will show you how the After Effects composition looks. Firstly, which word static. Now this is the main text here. Now only 3. Okay. In here what I have done is basically I've added an animator. The animator is a position animator, and the major part has to happen at the end and start. So what we have to do is, in the string of text that we have to firstly figure out how many words there are. And the biggest thing that we have over here is inside, if you go into the range selector, I'll just make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. If you see inside range selector, if you twirl open the range selector, you'll have start and end, but here the advanced tab, it has units, or sorry, based on word. By default it's characters. If you make it words, that is going to save you a ton of effort, okay, because it's considering words instead of the characters itself. Now once that is done, we put 2 expressions on end and start. I will first begin with end because that's a little more important. Here there's a variable called which word, which is referring to a slider on this layer called which word. Okay, variable spaces is this com.layer spaces. There's a layer called spaces here, the source text of that layer. Now what is in the source text of the spaces layer? This is important. This is another layer called spaces. I've just kept it here at top. Actually I will just open these so you know what I'm talking about. Here this spaces, now for example if I was to change that, it's all dynamically linked. Okay, if I make this is bigger text, now you see, now what is happening is spaces is 6. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 spaces, and the text length here is showing to be 31. Now I'll show you what spaces is doing. How is this 6 getting calculated? Here we're just referring to this text layer, the original one which has to be referred. This layer dot text dot source text, we've taken a variable called count and initialized it to 0. We run a for loop for i0 is less than text layer, this layer's length, that means the number of characters, which in this case is 31, i++. If text layer, now text layer, when you refer to this com.layer.text.source text, I just discovered that this is by default an array only. So if it's an array, you can refer to it as text layer and then index I as you're going through the loop. If that equals space, so in between the double quotes you're supposed to have a space, then count ++ and then just output count. So in the source text of this space layer, we are dynamically updating the number of spaces there are in this line of text. Now once that is taken care of, I come back again to the end. Variable which word is that slider, going back again. Variable spaces is, I just now showed you how we found out the spaces, so that layer's source text. Now variable words is another variable which is math.round parse int spaces +1. Now logically logically thinking about this situation here, whatever text you have, the number of words in that text is going to be the number of spaces in between the words plus 1. If you just do spaces plus 1, which is where I got stuck for a long time, it will be considering, like, let's say for example the spaces are 6 in this case. If you do spaces plus 1, it will just do 61, and you don't want that. You want 6 plus 1, that is 7. That is why we have to do math.round parse int spaces plus 1. This is where I was getting stuck for a long time, and I just figured out something. Now we have the words which are stored here. Now basically the calculation for end, this is a logical thing here. 100 divided by words into which word. If I have to explain this, can't keep both big here. I have to explain this part here. 100 divided by words into which words. Let's say in this situation, we just take this as an example. I have 1, 2, 6 plus 1, 7 words. Why 100 divided by? According to your BODMAS rule, we're gonna have division first and then multiplication in this expression. So 100 divided by 7. 7 is not a very good number. So to make it easier, let's just make it 4. This is bigger text. Now we have 4 words. Again, now here I have to keep doing this every time. Yeah. For me to divide this line of text into sections, how will I do that? I would divide it by 100. So consider this whole line of text to be 100. Okay, imagine it to be 100. Now if I have to divide it into sections for each word, how am I going to do it? I divide by the number of words there are. So that's where 100 divided by words is coming into picture. How do we know words? We've done all the math above. So 100 divided by words into which word? If this which word slider is 0, this would be 100 divided by 4 into 0. So that is 0. If this slider value is 1, okay, now let's see how this is working. It will be 100 divided by words, which is 100 divided by 4, 25 into 1, which is 25. So 25 is basically from here to here. If this which word is 2, okay, what will happen is here it will be 100 divided by 4, 25 into 2, 50. So now your end position is 50 as it is. So end is basically from here to here. If I was to just switch off the start, this have to be 0 then. Yeah, this is exactly how it. When which word sliders at 2, we are at basically end of 50. When it is a 3, it will be 75. When it is 4, it will be 100. Okay, so I'll just undo these two things. Okay, and the same expression has been applied to your start, but the only difference is here we are one step behind. So for example, when this is 50, I want it to be at 25. When the end one is at 75, I want it to be at 50. That is the logic here which is being used. If I want to extend this to the animation part which I have done, if you see here, there is one expression on the slider itself, the which word slider we were using to pick. Now the expression there is, if I just, we're again referring to the spaces. Why After Effects? We're referring to the spaces, the number of spaces there are. Now for example here, in this text there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, so 5 spaces. Now variable words is math.round, again the same concept. The words are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Variable dir is equal to effect. Now there's one more slider here called seconds, which we're gonna take into your essential panel, essential graphics panel over here. We've used the linear expression. Time basically means the current time of the comp. It's a built-in After Effects function. Linear, now we're changing the value of the slider. Okay, linear time going from 0 to dir. Now dir, that's seconds. Okay, now when time goes from 0 to 1 second, slider, you have to go from 0 to words plus 1. Okay, whatever, how many ever words there are. So in this case, time going from 0 to 1, slider is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all it is doing. I don't know if it makes sense. I'll probably do a proper tutorial of this on the main channel, but I think that's more than what I could explain. 14 minutes. Okay, we messed up here. The other thing that I did today was something in AutoHotkey, which I cannot show because I don't know, Corsair, this does some weird thing that it does not play my key assignments when I wanted to. In tomorrow's documentation, I will try covering this one as well. Basically what I did is a way to select track. Like let's say I want to select, I'm here and only this is active. I want to select the track underneath it. So the way to do that, there is no built-in function for that, so there's a workaround for it. Now if I'm at V3, I'll have to first switch it off, I have to switch on V1, and I have to deselect everything. Now when you move around, you've selected the bottom one. This is what I discovered today, and I made an AutoHotkey macro for it. That's pretty much it. I taken 14:45. No problems. One important thing I wanted to document here is I have 55 episodes to go for show 2 now. This week we have 2 leaves from the full-time job. Before I go for the offsite, which is next Saturday, that is 20th August, I was hoping that I can finish this lot of show 2. Tomorrow the whole day I stretch up to 12. Friday, which is holiday, I can stretch up to 12. I still get to 24. So I'm not quite sure if the days in between I'm gonna be like completely free from the full-time job. That's not gonna happen. An unrealistic expectation, but let's see how far we can get. We'll try to complete the whole lot. Other than that, for moving meditations I have to do something. I'm not quite sure. We'll see that. That was today's documentation. Thank you so much for being in the code. I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.